Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Got it by Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit to do and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, February 14th. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day.
Did you light a candle?
I tried to go to Virginia, because Virginia's for lovers. I didn't quite make it. I'm in Johnson City, but close.
Is Virginia for lovers? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think that's like their state motto. They're saying. I don't know about motto. Motto doesn't seem right. That's on shirts and coffee mugs and bags and things like that. So it might as well be their state motto.
Okay.
Yeah, Virginia's for lovers. I can't believe you
You learn something new every day.
You do. I did not. You said light a candle for all of our listeners. Sounds kind of like they're dead, but like a vigil. But yeah, I mean, we can.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I meant like a romantic.
Yeah. I know what you mean now. I'm with you. I wasn't sure where we were at, but it is Valentine's Day. Hope you guys have had a great holiday, or if you're single, I also hope you had a great holiday. But if you're not celebrating the holiday, I hope it doesn't matter, and you can listen to us for an hour and a half, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long Landon wants to go. Yeah, let's see how long you can last.
I'm pretty sure your girlfriend would kill me if I did that. As will my wife.
She just wants to see how long I can last, so we'll see.
Nice.
Too early? Do we get into it too quick?
Yeah, I mean you went right for it.
We never want to be in this too quick. All right, we are excited though for another episode. I feel like it's been forever. I don't know if that much, like nothing's happened. Like not a lot's happened, I should say. I mean, Tennessee obviously played on Saturday. I would say the third most important hire on the staff happened this week, so that's good.
Nope, number one.
You think number one more important than the head coach and defensive coordinator?
Number two.
You think more important than the defensive coordinator? Or more important than the head coach? Okay,
yep.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll talk about Rodney Garner. I always want to call him Gardner to the hill. We'll get into that. We'll talk about some of the other staff
It's
hires.
the D. It's the D in Rodney.
For sure.
So it's not Ronnie. Ronnie Gardner. No, Rodney Garner.
Yeah, throw me for a loop. Josh Heupel is starting to fill out his staff. He did get an important piece of that defensive staff in there without a defensive coordinator, which I think is a big deal. He also has Landon can fix me on this one. I believe he has completed his offensive staff, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some GAs and some quality control guys, but yeah, for the most part, all the pieces are in place for on the field staff.
Gotcha. We'll talk about those staff hires. Talk about the defensive coordinator search as it continues on. It's been surprisingly quiet, and I started to think about it, and of course we will get into this more. You really haven't heard a ton about it. I mean, if we're just being honest, it's not 100% sure how the Al Washington deal went down. So we're not sure. And then the Brian David fiasco. What was it? Brian and who? What was the confusion?
Blake.
Blake. That's it.
Yeah.
Blake.
Yeah, who knows what happened with that?
So that fiasco isn't honestly very well known right now. So overall, a pretty quiet, a long but pretty quiet search. Hopefully it's better than the latest quiet offensive coordinator search that Tennessee went through at the end of 2018. We'll recap the LSU basketball game. Just, you don't ever want to lose like that. That was not pretty. It was not fun to watch. I actually turned it off with about 2.5 minutes left. So, sorry if you all hung on longer. I couldn't. I was done.
Yeah. I at least tuned out around that point.
Yeah. If you didn't turn it off, you were very, very close. I turned it off. Honestly, I tried to like reverse jinx it. I tried to turn it off. Like maybe they'll come back if I'm not watching. That was honestly my thought process. I was like, I'm doing this for the Vols. And then I came back with like 30 seconds left, and they were still getting beat by 17 or whatever it was. So reverse jinx didn't work.
Not fun.
Didn't work. And then we will also preview the South Carolina game. Bald Frank Martin coming to town. Or is it home? I just said that. Now I don't know.
Bald Frank Martin.
You know he doesn't have hair anymore, right?
It is at home, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Bald Frank Martin. I was right. And then we will do our segments. Oh, questions too. We got our segments, so most important of the week. Fail of the week. If you got questions, drop them in the chat. I am on Twitter. I will hop on YouTube now. Landon's got Facebook for all you fine folks still on the Mark Zuckerberg app. I'm a MySpace guy. I heard it's coming back.
Are you buying stock in it?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it on Robinhood?
It might be. I'm not willing to say it's not.
Yeah. Like Caleb said, drop your questions in the chat. Also, go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Also, go check out our network, Volunteer Roadshow. They do a great job of letting us kind of use this platform to talk about stuff that's kind of depressing at times.
Toxic relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Let's get into it. Staff.
Okay, so Landon says second most important. I'll say third, and I'll lead off with why I think third, and you can get into why you think second. I think that obviously the head coaching hire, that's your most important hire. I mean, that goes without being said. I think because of the head coach you got in an offensive-minded guy who's going to be calling plays, who seems to have a pretty good offense. I mean, time will tell. We're waiting and seeing. But seems to have a pretty good offense, ready to be in place here. So I think that makes defensive coordinator, the guy who leads your defensive staff, I think that makes it the second most important hire on the staff, which hadn't been in place yet, and that is unfortunate. I thought getting Rodney Garner would kind of rely on who you got as your defensive, and I don't even think defensive line is that third most important piece. I don't. I think it's that Rodney Garner is obviously a good defensive line coach also, but an elite recruiter. And I think that's why it's the third most important hire on the staff. I think you went and got a guy that maybe kind of shores up some questions about how Josh Heupel can recruit, how his staff's going to recruit. I think that helps out a lot. I think you got a really, really good football coach, but I think you also got a really, really great recruiter. And that's not just my thoughts. Like his track record proves that.
Yeah, absolutely. Guy with 30 years experience in the SEC. And I say number two because I don't know who your DC is going to be. So yeah, it's important because you need one. Like you have to have one. Mm-hmm. But in terms of who it's going to be, I don't think that's as important as having Rodney Garner on the staff because like you said, you need an elite recruiter. And I just don't think there's an elite recruiter out there that Tennessee's kind of looked at as a defensive coordinator besides maybe Al Washington, but there are still question marks with that as well. And who you're going to bring in. So I'm going to go Rodney Garner number two because he can recruit and he has a ton of SEC experience. He developed guys. He gets them into the NFL. Tennessee really hasn't had a stud on the defensive line since Derek Barnett. Mm-hmm. And so I think he's going to be huge in, developing some of these guys. Not saying they're going to be Derek Barnett, but we haven't really had any kind of development at that defensive line in years. So hopefully he's able to kind of turn that ship around. Like I said, he's been at three places in the SEC for 30 years, and it's been Tennessee back in '97. It's been Georgia. It's been at Auburn, and he's back at Tennessee again. So just a ton of ties in the state of Alabama, a ton of ties in the state of Georgia. Some recruits, Derek Brown, who's with the Carolina Panthers, was the number 5 overall pick. Montravius Adams, Carl Lawson, Alec Ogletree. And it's not just defensive guys. He's recruited. He's been in the recruitment of Bo Nix at Auburn, Tank Bigsby, who was one of the best running backs in the SEC last season. So just a ton of guys that he's recruited, developed, and he did a nice job while he was at Tennessee, getting guys like Jamal Lewis, Deion Grant, Fred Weary, Cozy Coleman. Those are legends at Tennessee.
Right.
And he had a hand in bringing those guys in. So I'm really excited for this hire. I mean, it got me pumped because we talked about as soon as Kevin Steele was kind of linked to Tennessee, you're just like, all right, Rodney Garner, Rodney Garner, Rodney Garner. And it never really happened. And then when it finally happened, you're like, okay, I can get down with this because your staff was basically UCF on the offense side of the ball. And then your defense was just like, who knows? But you're able to get a guy, and it's backwards because everything Tennessee does is backwards. Right. You get a defensive line coach without a defensive coordinator. So where do we go from defensive coordinator? I have no clue.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the defensive coordinator still, I think, is still a big toss-up. I will say this, and I'm not saying that's a defensive coordinator, but I would think getting and hiring Rodney Garner before the defensive coordinator, I've got to think there's a possibility that Kevin Steele is on the staff. Whether that be as the defensive coordinator, an analyst, but I've got to think he's going to be tied to Tennessee in some way. You owe him money. Surely you don't just cut him loose. You at least make him say no. So I think there's a chance you do see Kevin Steele on the staff. But yeah, I don't think the Rodney Garner hire can be under. I mean, it's probably the most home run hire that's happened this offseason at Tennessee, right? I mean, this is the one that everybody wanted. For obvious reasons.
What position coach in the last 5 years have we been this excited about? With the track record that he has, I mean, I don't know of one.
There's definitely been.
Position coach. I mean,
right.
Maybe OC, maybe Jim Chaney was kind of up there, but
Jim Chaney. I'd say there's quite a bit of excitement for Ansley, but he was also the co-defensive coordinator, so that was a little bit different. You said position coach. That's why I kind of hesitated with Ansley. I think getting a seasoned veteran in here, guy like that, I think that's going to be huge. And it took this long, so I hope there's some, they're on the same page. Heupel and Rodney Garner. Chris just asked, do you think Steele would say yes to be in DC? I've got to think this late. So I just said I think there's a chance Steele could be on staff. I do believe that. But I don't think he'll be defensive coordinator now. I think it's too late for that.
You already kind of talked to him and you've been turned down by multiple people. I just don't know. It looks pretty bad if you go back to Kevin Steele, which, I said from the get-go that Kevin Steele is probably your best option, and I still believe that to a certain extent.
But likeliness.
Now looks bad if you go back to him now.
Yeah, I think it's just a likeliness. Does Kevin Steele say yes now? I mean, he may want it, but I mean, a lot of people have made it seem like Josh Heupel doesn't necessarily want. And this, when I say a lot of people, I mean guys that are in the know around Tennessee. Make it seem like it was not Heupel that didn't want Steele. It was kind of Kevin Steele didn't want to be a part of a team that ran offenses the way Heupel runs his offense. So it seems like there's hesitation on Kevin Steele's side. And again, maybe that's why he ends up being in-house, but not defensive coordinator. And maybe Rodney Garner came here without the Kevin Steele ties. Because, he's been at Auburn the whole time with Malzahn. He left Georgia. Well, he left Georgia in 2012. When did Malzahn get there?
So Rodney Garner's been at Auburn since 2013.
13. So yeah, that would have been when Malzahn came then. So he's been there the whole time. So it wasn't. I don't think it should be. He may have been also looking somewhere else. So it may not be as much Kevin Steele as I'm thinking. That's just kind of the outside looking in, what that kind of looks like to me. But again, regardless whether Kevin Steele's here or not, Rodney Garner is a big hire. Great recruiter, great coach. I think that interior defensive line has a ton of potential. Pass rushers, you still have some work, but I think you've got talent there at pass rusher. Yeah,
you just got to develop. And that's something Tennessee hasn't really done in the past couple of years is really develop guys into what they could be. You saw the end of kind of Kyle Phillips, and he really came on. Shy Tuttle had a good senior season. But those guys didn't get a full 4 years of development. Hopefully a couple years under Rodney Garner, these guys will start showing a lot more on that defensive line. And, you got one of the top recruits in the country down there in Cordova at St. Benedict at Auburndale and Walter Nolan. So I'm sure Rodney Garner will be all over that one as well as multiple coaches at Tennessee. But, I would think Josh Heupel would be like, hey, this is your first task is Walter Nolan.
Right. You'd think. I gotta think Rodney Garner's got a good feel for it too.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the way the staff's filling out. It kind of feels like maybe it's a about on the same timetable as every other, staff gets put together. It's kind of been a crazy way. Jeremy Pruitt was let go. Josh Heupel was hired because you had to get Danny White in here first. But let's talk about the way Josh Heupel's staff is starting to fill out. Like I said, it's kind of seemed like a slow process. I don't know if that's just the timing of it all or if it's would be normal in November. But he does have his offensive staff in place, and that's a start.
Yeah, I think it's going to be adjustment for some of these guys because, some of them been at Missouri, and it's just people that Heupel's been comfortable with. I think a big challenge for them is going to be recruiting. And not that they can't do it. I think Cody Burns is going to be probably really good at it, but he's been in the SEC. Guys who really haven't taken on those recruiting roles at previous stops, or maybe they were at UCF, but it's totally different at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see kind of where they're at with that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cody Burns. I mean, you got a guy with SEC ties, SEC feels coming from Auburn. That's, I think, in terms of recruiting, that's a solid start. Tom will kind of tell how he can recruit at Tennessee. And then Glenn Ellerby was not sure if he's offensive line at Missouri, but he was at Missouri with Josh Heupel and then went to UCF. So he's got a little bit of SEC experience. But like you said, kind of time will tell how they can recruit not only in the SEC but also at Tennessee, where there could be some challenges that wouldn't be normal here in the next couple of years with some sanctions and whatnot that this program could be facing.
Yep. So you have Alec Golish at the OC, and will also coach tight ends. You have Glenn Ellerby at the offensive line, like Caleb mentioned. You have Joey Halsley will be your quarterback coach, and then Cody Burns will be your wide receivers. And then the new kind of name that we've heard is or not heard. I guess it's officially unofficial. And that's running back coach Jerry Mack. Show me the money.
I did not realize that wasn't official. So, yay.
Well, I guess it's real, but
okay.
So he hasn't kind of changed his bio or anything like that. I guess
Hasn't signed the contract yet?
Yeah.
He's waiting on the.
Yeah, show me the money.
He can't do it yet. So, is it bring me my money? He's bring me my money, right?
Jerry Maguire?
No, I thought
I thought more people would get on that train. That Jerry Maguire,
okay.
Show me the money. That's what I got it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I guess I'm over people's heads. Movie quotes through the roof.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that one. I apologize. I missed out on it.
So yeah, Jerry Mack comes from Rice. Was the OC there. Before that, he was the head coach at North Carolina Central. He's been a head coach. He's been an OC. He play calling duties. Been a leader of a program. I like his resume. He hasn't been at an SEC school. He hasn't been at a Power 5. But he has been in roles where he's had like leadership qualities. Mm-hmm. And David Cutcliffe spoke highly of him. They did some, I think, camps and stuff together because it's North Carolina Central is in Durham, which was Cutcliffe is at Duke. And then he's got 3 MEAC championships at North Carolina Central and a MEAC Coach of the Year in 2016. So, I thought that was a pretty good hire.
Yeah.
You get a guy with some experience, give him a shot at the SEC and see what he can do. And when David Cutcliffe speaks highly of you, I can't disagree with anything he says. So he's not going to steer you in the wrong direction for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And his son is coming into the athletic department.
David Cutcliffe.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's his last name isn't Cutcliffe.
Right. He's in a associate AD role at Austin Peay right now, and he is joining Danny White's staff. So that's big time. Yeah.
And Jerry Mack is from Memphis, went to Whitehaven.
Yep.
So there's some ties there. So that's good because, this 2022 class, you have tons and tons and tons of talent in the city of Memphis. So want to have those ties there. Also, he's going to have a lot of talent in that running back room to work with. Mm-hmm. Guys like Jalen Wright coming in, guys like maybe not Cody Brown, Tyon Evans, guys like Jabari Small. I don't know if D. Beckwith is going to be there or not with this new staff, but he could potentially have a guy like that. I think he's got some weapons to work with in that room. A lot of young talents, the guys that he's going to be able to develop over time. And I like this hour. I really do. I think it's it's maybe not a home run like Rodney Garner, but it's a guy that you can't really hate on in any way because he's been successful everywhere he's been. So
yeah, no, I think it's a pretty solid hire. I'm excited. I like what you said about. No, I think this running back room not only has. I think they just have a ton of talent. I think there's definitely the opportunity there I think you've got a ton of guys that can make the running back position very, very successful. So we will see. Chris brought up a good point. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about show me the money in the wake of all these violations. It's a good point.
Yikes.
It's a good point.
Or in the loss to Will Wade at LSU.
Yeah, that's also no. There's been a lot of money things that have been hurt. I'll never understand that either with the LSU.
Yeah, I mean that was the good thing
whatever.
last year when you played LSU is you could do all those money jokes, but it's hard to do it now when our football program is the way that it is run.
Except our guy, at least Philip Fulmer isn't caught on tape either. Pruitt wasn't caught on tape talking about a strong ass offer. So
That we know of.
That we know of. That's a good point. It's a good point. I didn't think about that. Kind of wait and see their process, but we didn't. So definitely, I didn't do my research. So I saw your tweet about Jerry Mack, bring me the money or whatever. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. I thought he might have been the guy in the head coach in that video, but it's North Carolina AT&T, not North Carolina Central. That he does he's celebrating with the team. They just beat ECU. And he does now bring me my money. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I just
It's a great video.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorites. So I just thought that was Jerry Mack. Yeah. Okay. So now I got you. But I'm on the same page as you now.
Show me the money.
I kind of want to in my head think it's him because I kind of like that. But it's whatever.
But yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe not the best time to have money quotes, but the staff has nothing to do with last staff. Will Wade is still the coach at LSU somehow, some way. But hopefully we got Rodney Garner here, and he's recruited in the SEC for 30 years. I think he knows how to do it, so I don't have to really worry about McDonald's bags full of cash right now.
Yeah, he's way classier than that. It's Crystal's bags full of cash, okay? That's a joke. It's a joke.
RP, there's no Crystal.
There's one 2 minutes from my house.
Is there?
Yeah. I will never eat there, but yeah, there's one 2 minutes from my house. Sorry, Tim Burchett. I know you love Crystals, but no.
Dude, Crystals has the worst fries of all time. Right?
They do not have good fries, but you know what they do have really good? Chili cheese fries. They are I will say that about Chili's. Good chili cheese fries or Chili's.
Have you ever had bad chili cheese fries though?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I couldn't think of one either.
Not off the top of my head, and I usually remember bad some of my favorite foods bad. I'll be like, I'm never going back there. And you got me. I don't know bad chili cheese fries. That's a good point, guys.
When your fries suck, just make them chili cheese fries.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
McDonald's needs to serve chili cheese fries.
Yes, they do. Oh, God. I couldn't imagine the bathroom after that.
All right. Defense coordinator. Are you worried or what's going on? Going on?
We've heard a ton of names, but nothing has come to fruition. So I don't know. Every name that comes up, I guess Matt House is the hot name right now. It was Casey Rogers. Josh Conklin was the head coach at Wofford, but they start their season this week.
Yeah.
So it's it can't be him, right? If it was going to be him, it would already been
if it's him,
done?
Yeah. I mean, he's either gonna. I would think he's either gonna already have already left or is gonna play the season out.
Yeah. So, you don't want to go. You're not going to go a whole season, a whole spring without a defensive coordinator. You're just not going to do that. So, bad position for him if he wanted to be the DC. But yeah, that can't happen. And yeah, we're hearing about Matt House, who's a linebackers coach at Kansas City, was previously at Kentucky, and then Pittsburgh and FIU. Coach Aaron Donald also recruited James Conner. I think Chris Rodriguez, who's the current running back at Kentucky right now. So, again, if he's the guy, I would think Rodney Garner is a more important hire than him. yeah, you need one, and that's important. But like
Fair.
who it is,
Fair.
I would say Rodney Garner is probably more important than Matt House. No offense, Matt House.
So it's just not clear where this defensive coordinator search is right now, and that I don't know. That's very strange to me. I guess one of the stranger parts is how did Tennessee get not only a defensive line coach? I mean, because that you could probably hire a typical defensive line coach, But I mean, you hired one of the better defensive line coaches in the SEC without a defensive coordinator. I feel like that seems strange. Like it almost seems like the defensive coordinator search is starting to wrap up, but obviously that isn't the case.
Yeah, and I don't know like what candidates are looking for. Are they looking at the roster and being like, yeah, there's just not a lot there to work with the SEC, or is it the NCAA violations? Are they asking Heupel, hey, what do these violations look like? And he's kind of telling them what he's hearing, and they're just kind of scared away. That makes me kind of nervous.
Right, but I mean,
I'm like, how bad are they?
For the guys that Tennessee's offered, would that be a concern? I mean, the only reason I would say Al Washington is because his ties to Columbus, and Ohio State's probably telling him he's next in line. I mean, probably.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But outside of that, what guys that Tennessee has been kind of tied to wouldn't take the chance, unless they just don't want to be defensive coordinators, wouldn't take the chance to be a defensive coordinator at Tennessee, an SEC school?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't tried to go steal anyone.
No, I mean, Casey Rogers, I think he was just comfortable in the NFL. So
again, that guy I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. But the guy at Miami, I don't really get that one. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for, is John Jancic going to be one that they look at? I mean, who wants to be the last option? We're talking about Valentine's Day. Who's going to be like, he's been turned down by 80 people. And then you've asked 85 people. I'm your 86. Like, who's going to want to go on a date with that guy?
You just got to make them say, wait, I'll stay away from that line. I don't know. It's going to be, it's tough for Tennessee right now. It's tough. But I mean, also like how many people have they, which I mean, how many people have they offered with Danny White's definition of an offer? 0 is probably the answer.
They'll get their first guy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get it. I don't get how hard it is to go out and get a defensive coordinator. Because like I said, I think you could go out and get a lot of really, really talented guys that you can probably go get a really good recruiter, decent play caller, and I think you'd be. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Matt House. I don't like. He has SEC experience. He's been a defensive coordinator in the SEC, and the Chiefs. Yeah, their defense isn't great, but the Chiefs also play that high-powered offense where it makes sense. I don't hate that hire. He's coaching linebackers there. He's not a defensive coordinator. But I mean, I don't hate it.
Right.
But again, it's not. I don't feel like anybody that they've reached out to has been just a home run guy.
No, definitely not a home run guy. I mean, the only guy that I've been like, really, that guy is probably Miami's defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Blake
like or Brian.
A lot. Blake, Brian, Ben.
Bob.
Another B name. Bob.
Bill.
Yeah. Because I watched a lot of Miami games and the overhit a lot. So.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there haven't been a lot of names that they haven't been home run, but I'm also not like, really? So. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's just something that you need to get done.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
It should. Like you said, it shouldn't take this long to hire a defensive coordinator. When you've hired an AD and a head coach in a week, it shouldn't be that hot.
Right.
Because Tennessee's got money, so money talks a little bit.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't look like it right now. So how much are you offering? Is everybody wanting that 1.5 that Al Washington was apparently offered? Because, I mean, if you're paying that to Brian or Bill or Bob at Miami, then everybody's going to be like, what the heck? Why?
Sorry, muted. Yeah.
Somebody's got to say yes.
Eventually someone has to say yes. So
eventually they're going to get down to one of us. It's going to be one of us two.
I got bad news. I'm not a good offense coordinator in my NCAA Madden days, but I'm not a good defensive coordinator. We blitz all night.
So you could be one of the greatest things in life. You could be a fired SEC coach.
I would love nothing more than to be a fired SEC coach. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
Nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually my dream. Some kid was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The other day. So first off, I'm a grown up kid. Okay. Second off, I want to be a fired SEC coach. You're like, what does that mean? Yeah. You'll find out one day.
You're basically retired, but you get paid a lot more money.
You get paid a lot of money. It's nice, and you probably get some sweet TV deal too.
Yeah, it's nice. Real nice.
We'll see. All right. You want to get into the ugly?
Oh God. Not wearing the victory cap.
Sad day. I don't like to be one of those people like that. That's like, I felt bad about this game, but I mean, Tennessee's just not played good against LSU
ever. I shouldn't say ever. Like recent years, when Tennessee's actually been competitive in the SEC, they have not. Will Wade's had their number.
Right, and I think Jimmy Dykes is the one that mentioned it yesterday. He was like, LSU and Will Wade are having nightmares about Vescovi. I was like, they beat us by like 20 on our home court last year. They don't give an F how many points Vescovi
Yeah, he
scored.
had to shoot 10 threes to score 30.
Yeah, they don't give an F about him. It was, I mean, I just feel like Tennessee had no answer for how aggressive their guards were, specifically Javonte Smart.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from, Fulkerson wasn't starting, and he hasn't really given us much this year, so they weren't concerned with him. And with Pons not playing the previous game, he only played 11 minutes against them yesterday. That was their game plan, to go to the rim. They're like, we're gonna penetrate and get to the rim, and if it's not there, they stop us, we'll kick out. That's exactly what they did. That's exactly how they beat Tennessee. But they were not fazed at all by anybody going to the rim.
No.
No. And it sucks because we're so inconsistent. Because every game that we win, you're like, okay, is this the time we turn the corner? Is this the time we turn the corner? And then the next game, it's just like a pitfall of terrible basketball.
Right. And that was kind of like the thing after the Kentucky game last Saturday is you were like, all right, and Tennessee's played good on the weekends too. I think that's another thing to mention. It's the weekday games they've struggled. And so they turn that, they beat Kentucky, and you're like, okay, now you play a middle of the road Georgia team. Not a terrible, not a great Georgia team. Get a chance to, like you said, kind of turn that corner. Seems like Tennessee did. Seems like they did. And then they go into Saturday and just have their defense. For how good Tennessee's defense is, they could not find anybody that could go one up on Javonte Smart. But I mean, also even on guys like Watford, I mean, they struggled.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ugly affair on the defensive end. And then they tried a couple different things, but they just could not get it done. LSU scored a lot. And then how much does Pons being injured have to do with that? Does he help protect that rim from those guys that are really aggressive going to the basket, or is that what Tennessee's going to struggle against?
I think that's. I mean, I do think they struggle staying in front of more athletic guards. Because they basically have, if Josiah's playing the 4, he's probably not guarding them. So it's either Vescovi,
which
Victor Bailey Jr.
liability.
or Jaden or Keon. So, two out of the 4 are decent defenders. The other 2 aren't really great at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it does help when Pons at least it makes them think twice about going to the rim and getting it freaking demolished against the backboard. But when he's out of the game, I mean, there's no threat at the rim at all.
Not a consistent one. I mean, Keon can go block shots.
He can, yeah.
But not a consistent shot blocker. Not that Yves Pons is a huge body, but I mean because he's only 6'5", 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
So he's not just enormously threatening. But yeah, I mean he can go up and block anything. And then Fulkerson not playing good. Because I mean Fulkerson can be a rim protector for you, but he's not played good really ever this season. Last night played 34 minutes, only had 4 points. Had only 5 rebounds, better than what he's been giving us. But I mean, overall, just not. We mentioned it when Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson scored 50 apiece. It's like they can't do that every night, and if you don't have games from Fulkerson and Pons, you're not going to win a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't think Tennessee has the depth that we all thought they're going to have going into this season, and maybe more into conference play. It's really showed that you're not getting anything from Fulkerson, nothing from Victor Bailey Jr. He's been pretty much non-existent since conference play started. EJ Anosike isn't really giving you anything, and then when Pons is out, I mean, you basically have zero post presence whatsoever.
Yeah, and Fulkerson's been not great, unfortunately. Victor Bailey Jr. will give you very, very short spurts of it, but that's it. He's not going to produce for long amounts of time consistently. And I mean, even like Vescovi didn't play. I mean, he had 3 threes and had 13 points. He didn't play fantastic, and then defensively just got worked yesterday, and it killed Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really poor defensive performance from them. And I think a lot of that is they don't have any kind of post presence. Mm-hmm. And then some of their guards are liabilities on defense, like Victor Bailey Jr. and Santiago Vescovi. And they just got to the rim with ease. It was easy for them. And that's why they kept going to it, because, they had Cam Thomas at the 3-point line. And if it wasn't there, they're just going to throw it out to him, and he was going to shoot, or he was going to drive in and get to the free throw line, and he's basically automatic from the free throw line. So just not a great performance. I still think this team is so inconsistent. I think that's what you're going to get when you're relying so heavily on 2 freshmen. Keon didn't have a great game yesterday. He had 5 turnovers. He was 4 for 14 from the field. Jaden had a really good game, but you're going to need a really good game from both of those guys if you're relying on them so heavily on the offensive end. And expect them to play good on defense too. So, it's just tough to rely so heavily on 2 freshmen when you're basically not getting anything else from anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, about the only other help you're getting is Josiah Jordan-James, but I mean, he's not gonna load up the scoring column. That's not where he really impacts the game from. Yeah, sure, he can go and get you points, but he's gonna get rebounds, steals, blocks, assists. He's not going to score a ton of points. And that's probably been your most consistent player all year, is Josiah Jordan-James, but he can't score a ton for you. And that's, you need more. I mean, bottom line, you need more from Fulkerson. The freshmen, I think you've seen kind of what they can do. You need more from Fulkerson to kind of see this team take the next step.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee has a talent to go in and make an Elite Eight, but they also are so inconsistent that you could see them losing the first round. I mean, that's the reality of the season, which is very depressing for Tennessee fans. But like, you get the Kansas game, you blow them out. You're like, oh, we turned the corner, and then the next game they just lay an egg.
Yep.
So, and you've had the Florida game was probably the most depressing to watch because they're basically out their 3 best players, and we couldn't do anything. We get blown out at Florida. So, I don't know. I mean, I have issues with some of, like, a lot of people blame Rick Barnes, and I don't necessarily disagree. I have questions with some of his lineups. Like, I don't think he should ever sit Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer at the same time, because
it's a tough stretch.
You give yourself nothing on offense if you do that.
Right. I thought in terms of Rick, I think sometimes he waits too long, or maybe is a little impatient with lineups or guys that are in. I thought he tried a lot yesterday. I thought he tried to make something happen, put different people in. I mean, Devontae Gaines played 20 minutes yesterday. I mean, I feel like he tried something different, which a lot had to do with foul trouble from guys like Keon Johnson. But, I mean, I feel like he at least tried to make something different happen, and it just wasn't going to be Tennessee's day. They couldn't get it together. I think LSU had like 6 turnovers in the span of like 3 minutes. Like, they gave Tennessee opportunities to go and be aggressive and try to go get back in the ball game, and Tennessee just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think Tennessee lacks two things, and it's two things that I think you need in a really good basketball team, and that's a dominant post presence. Fulkerson could possibly be that, but still, he's not dominant in the paint.
But he could make up with that scoring. Like, he could just be a consistent scorer, and I think that would correct a lot of the issues Tennessee needs, and he can't do that. Like, even do that.
And then a primary ball handler. Maybe Vescovi is that, but I mean, just like a guy that can create his own shot as well as get the ball up the court and move. Like, I feel like Tennessee was trying to get their identity going and going fast, but Keon Johnson, Jaden Springer are the only ones that can really get out and run. Vescovi is not that. When he's pressured, he turns the ball over. I know Keon turned the ball over quite a bit, but they want to go fast. They want to get to the rim because they're not making shots. You're going to have to. Josiah Jordan James doesn't do that either. He's just very slow and methodical, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like you need that sometimes too. But if Tennessee really wants to be good, they're going to have to find some sort of identity of how they want to play. Are they going to play with tempo, or are they just going to do half court? I don't know what the answer is. I feel like if you're going to rely so heavily on Keon and Jaden, that it has to be get the ball up the court and try to get easy baskets at the rim, get out in transition. Yesterday, you really didn't do that. Maybe a lot of that was due to LSU, but, no one moves on offense.
No, you're about to say I don't know what the answer is in terms of half court or, running. I think Tennessee's got to play fast. I don't think they have the guys to do a half court offense. And then talking about primary ball handler, I think it's got to be Jaden Springer or Keon Johnson. Those are about the only guys that can create their own shots. Like you mentioned, can get to the rim effectively. Outside of them, there's really not much other guys that can do it. So I think it needs to be one of them. That's the primary ball handler.
I mean, no one moves. So when we got penetration, they had those kind of three guys come and trap one guy. No one moved.
Right.
Except one time Keon cut to the basket and it was a wide open dunk. Like, no one thought to ever do that again. That wasn't
good.
Kind of preaching a timeout. I just don't like it. Just was a bad game yesterday, and I want Tennessee to turn the corner. But I mean, from what we've seen so far, if history repeats itself, I just don't know if it's going to happen.
I agree. I believe we have some questions regarding basketball. Correct?
Yeah, my man Chris. Love Chris. He was like, y'all got to have a show on New Year's, or not New Year's.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah, where am I at?
We're not going to 2022 yet. I know you want to go ahead and jump ahead to that date, but not yet.
I'm ready. So he asked, looking at the basketball team, is very Jekyll and Hyde. Is the team closer to the so-so team last year or the number one team a few years ago? Also, who is more to blame for the 5 losses, the players or the coaches?
I guess we can start with the blame because Wes Rucker wants Rick Barnes to take the blame every night. For PR reasons, I don't really understand that. But what a stupid tweet. Did you see that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've got to think talent-wise, this team's closer to 18, 19. But I mean, consistency, they're closer to last year's team. I mean, Jekyll and Hyde for sure. Like, you have no idea what you're going to get every time, every half they step out on the court. It is. I don't know why this team's so bipolar. I don't know if it's just lack of leadership. And one thing, I don't remember who mentioned it. I was listening to an interview with a football coach. It might have been Heupel, kind of talking about what this last offseason was like without workout, working out as a team, being together as a team. And they just talked about how it's really, really hard to develop leaders when you're not together. And I don't know if this team just doesn't have the ability to, there's no one that can develop that leadership right now because I don't know. Surely basketball is not like football. Surely they're together more often. But I mean, I don't know if there's just no one has the time to it's hard for the coaches to drive that leadership with one guy because they're getting them in groups or something. I don't know. But there just doesn't seem to be a leader that when things aren't going right, they get them going. They don't have a Grant Williams or an Admiral Schofield or a Jordan Bone, guys who will pick up the team when things start kind of going south. And until they do that, I would say they're closer to last year's team than they are the 18-19 team that stayed at number 1 for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the 500 team. Or I mean, like the team that they finished below 500 or right at 500.
Can't remember.
It was gross, whatever it was. But I feel like this team is a lot like this 500 team, especially over the last couple of weeks, where you could see them go into Rupp Arena and knock off Kentucky. And the next game they'd lose to an Ole Miss or a Texas A&M or something like that. I mean, just like a terrible performance, not in, but like heckling. God, I can't even say it. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So I don't know. I just want them to be better. But it is like the 500 team, but you get more offensive production from Jaden Springer.
They finished They finished 17-14, so just above 500.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like last year's team, but you have a little bit of more.
You have more talent, so you should be, and not just more talent. I mean, you have like legit 5-star NBA talent on your roster. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Tennessee's got to find. They've got to find a guy that's just willing, like when the game is not going your way, to pick up not just get. I don't think just get the ball and go. It's like pick up the whole team. Things that like Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield were able to do. They've got to find a leader that'll do that. I don't know who it is, honestly. The way everyone else is playing, I got to think it's one of the freshmen. And
isn't that like a tough task to ask a freshman that you're relying on them heavily to, carry this team, but also be the leader? I feel like the seniors have to step up. And if it's not a senior, it's got to be like Josiah Jordan-James or somebody like that's been in this program for a little bit to kind of take over and, just fix it somehow, some way.
Right.
I don't think it's the coaching, because this coaching is done just fine with less.
Right. Yeah, and I think kind of the second part of that question, is it on the coaching or the playing? I mean, I think it's definitely like balance. I don't think it's just on the playing or just on the coaching. I think there's a lack of leadership there from the players. I don't think it's clear whose team this is. When Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams were on the team, it was very obvious whose team that was. It was easy to tell. I don't think it's easy to tell on this team. I think a guy that probably should be it, and he's probably got to. Unfortunately, in today's game, you got to find more ways to score when you're the leader. I think it's Josiah Jordan-James. I understand he's not going to score at just as many points as he possibly can, but times when the game's not going right, when Tennessee can't find the rim, he's got to go to the rim and get. He's got to do his best to put the ball in the bucket. You're asking for hopefully 6 points a game when Tennessee kind of draws up. You're not asking them to score at abundance. You've got guys there on that team that can score a lot of points. He's just got to be able to score when things aren't going right, or get the team just going the right way when things aren't going right. I'm just not convinced John Fulkerson can do it. He's not only not been a leader, he's just not played good basketball.
Yeah, and Tennessee's going to need something out of some post, whether it's Anasicki, whether it's Pawns, whether it's Olivier, Fulkerson. Somebody's got to step up, because they're just not getting anything from post players. And I know we mentioned Keon and Jaden and Josiah. Josiah might play the 4 sometimes, but he's still a guard.
Right.
Tennessee needs some sort of presence in the paint, and they just haven't had it since conference play started. So will they find it? It's $1 million question. Hopefully.
Let's hope. All right.
I think that's all the questions we got.
You want to? Yeah. Okay. Let's preview this South Carolina game. That game is in Thompson-Boling Arena on Tuesday night at 8:30. SEC Network. Plus, I'm just kidding. I think it's just SEC Network. It could be Plus. Who knows? Let's find out. Can't wait to find out.
It is SEC Network.
Okay. Perfect.
I mean, I feel like South Carolina's kind of one of those teams where they kind of give people a run for their money, and that's kind of been Frank Martin's kind of motto since he's been at South Carolina. Yeah, they don't have a ton of talent, but sometimes they find ways to win. They found themselves in a Final Four somehow, some way, a couple years ago. But they beat Florida 72-66. They lost 3 straight. Got blown out by Mississippi State, but gave Alabama all they wanted. Only lost by 2, and then had a close game against Ole Miss and lost that one 81-74. I mean, South Carolina, it is what it is, but again, it's kind of on Tennessee. Like they're their own worst nightmare right now. So, what Tennessee team are we going to see is probably going to be the difference in this game.
Oh, for sure. And it's you mentioned kind of This is Frank Martin's kind of mantra so far at South Carolina. Just like, what the heck is going on? He's not, like you said, kind of snuck their way like randomly into an Elite Eight Final Four a couple years ago. But I mean, that team's gonna play you tough, especially on the defensive end. They're gonna play you incredibly tough. Like this is a game that if you're able to get to the basket this game, like you should be able to do it against just about anybody in the SEC at least.
Yeah.
So it's a good test.
I think A.J. Lawson's their best player. He's probably going to give Tennessee some trouble. He's a longer guard, around 6'6", is scoring around 18 points per game, which is kind of scary.
And didn't Tennessee win big last year against them? And did he just have a lot of points and it was a close game? He had a lot of points against Tennessee last year.
Yeah. He's been one of their better players since he's been at South Carolina. I think he's a junior from Canada. Oh, Canada.
Nice.
I know that's your kind of favorite song.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Other than Rocky Top.
Rocky Top's a good one too, for sure. I think Tennessee played them close both times. The one in Thompson last year was I think a foul call ended the game. Because refs gotta love that. We're there to watch them. I don't even know
was
why.
It TV Teddy?
I'm sure.
Or was it Pat Adams?
Grizzly Adams did have a beard. I'm sure. It was one of them. I don't even know why they even play the game. I'm there to hear the whistles, see the calls. I don't even know why they play it. I think it ended on a foul call in Thompson, and then I think they did like their blackout game when we went to Columbia, and I think AJ Lawson had a lot of points, so he's definitely probably give Tennessee a good run for their money. I was gonna mention something else about. What did Pat Adams yell at Rick Barnes about yesterday?
He had to make the game about him.
It just turns around and it didn't even look like Rick Barnes was yelling at the refs. And if he was yelling at the refs, he wasn't yelling at Pat Adams.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, Pat. I don't understand, like when he's trying to talk to somebody, he like puts his mask up but then when like he's like blowing his whistle, it's like down, like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
He's
like
just
the whole
spraying
mask.
that spit everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just like, it doesn't make. Just yell. Who cares? You're like you're in like close vicinity to him anyway, blowing your whistle every 10 seconds. So
right, like if you probably need to be wearing your mask, blowing your whistle if you're gonna wear it while you talk. Like that's probably a good idea. I don't know. I'm not an epidemiologist. And like Rick Barnes, does he just say things that like strike? Like, does he just say really mean things to officials? I mean, I've heard these dudes get just ran up and down by coaches. F, you effing idiot. And then Rick Barnes, immediately. Like, I can't hear him. Boom. Yelled at. Teed up. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I'm like, Tom Crean, like, runs up and down the baseline.
Tom Crean was playing full court press on Tennessee. He's like, if my team's not going to do it, I'll show them how. Tom Crean and Buzz Williams play more defense than their teams, and their teams play a lot of defense.
Sure, yeah.
It's insane.
Because they don't have a lot of offense because they're bad.
Well, Buzz Williams has that utility player that just comes in for the inbounds.
Yeah.
Not even for their inbounds, to defend inbounds.
What a great job. That's what I want.
Oh, that'd be the best.
Just be a 7. Like, why can't Urosh be that?
Right.
Just stand there.
How does he get him off the floor? Like, what if it goes like a minute until he can sub him out? How does that work?
Just make him foul.
He's got 5.
Yeah. The South Carolina team, it's been that Frank Martin's team. They've been out a lot for COVID during the kind of start of their season.
Yeah.
But one of the top teams in steals. They average around almost 9 steals per game. So Tennessee's going to have to take care of the basketball. Going to have to knock down some shots. It seemed like everything was short yesterday. Did it feel like that to you? Everything was just short.
I didn't really notice that. I just feel like I don't know. I don't know what Tennessee's like troubles are. It's like it's so hit or miss with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like something different. I do think they struggle with the press. So if I'm South Carolina, I'm pressing the crap out of Tennessee.
Right.
That's something we just since one team decided to do it. I don't know why LSU didn't do it before, like earlier in the game, and then Tennessee tried it and got like 3 steals in a row. I'm like, why haven't we done it?
I know.
People are so successful against us. Why can't we try it?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's some of the stuff I'm just like, yeah, Rick Barnes, but he knows a lot more about basketball than I do. So
yeah, I definitely. Because you said we feel like we have depth. I mean, I feel like we got guys on the bench that you should be able to press pretty hard, at least for like longer spurts than what you did yesterday.
Right. I mean, at least they can go be athletes in the press and get back on defense if it doesn't work.
Right.
But yeah, just waiting on teams to come to us just is not working.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Go win.
Please go win. Please go beat South Carolina. I hate Frank Martin too. He's loud and obnoxious.
We kind of jinxed it by saying we'd wear out the victory cap.
Try to speak it into existence, okay? Try to speak it into existence. All right. Any more questions? You said that's all we got? Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, this week, or I guess Friday, starts baseball, baby.
Oh, yeah, that is this week. And also, is that Friday Ty Simpson announcement? Yep.
It is, yep.
I don't like that. We'll see.
I mean, apparently Tennessee's not out of it.
Don't know if that means they're in it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just like, yeah, he wants to be here. But, I mean, look at the other 2 programs. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, you always kind of hope that hometown feel, but it's not really hometown. It's just like,
right.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. Not a lot has went Tennessee's way here recently. So, maybe we're due one.
Right. We'll see. Golly. I want that so bad. I want it so bad. All right. Most important of the week.
Most important. I got LaMelo Ball is leading all NBA rookies in total points, rebounds, assists, steals, double-doubles, triple-doubles, and player efficiency rating.
Dang. All right. That's pretty impressive.
He's pretty good.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm sure his dad's taking all the credit, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Oh, Big Baller Brand. I mean, he wouldn't have done this without Big Baller Brand.
Correct.
So how much do you think it was the Lithuania? Is that where they've been playing? Lithuania?
Yeah, somewhere.
Some random country. That doesn't make sense. Let's see. I am looking for. I got a couple fails.
Okay.
But I don't know if I have most important. I mean, I don't think we've gotten to talk about on this show Keon Johnson's dunk against Georgia. Holy shit! I mean, that man. Wouldn't you hate to be that guy's parents?
There has been a murder, and you are a suspect.
I mean, God.
Yeah, I'd quit the game of basketball.
I do love the kind of debate it sparked whether that was the best Tennessee dunk of all time. It made me realize Tennessee's had a lot of phenomenal dunks lately.
Love a great dunk.
I mean, just all time, but lately too. Oh, yeah.
I think one that I was probably most hyped for was probably the Admiral against Mississippi State in the SEC tournament. That was probably...
So I didn't even get to watch it live. I didn't see it till the next day. I heard on the radio, and Burt Bertelkamp, he got me hyped.
I was like, oh my God.
That was a man. I mean, that was a man dunk. I think that was what they said in the broadcast.
A man dunk?
That was a man dunk. Like, all man. Okay. I've got for fail, unless you, any more most important?
I guess this could kind of be both, but Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, and UCLA both unranked for the first time since 1961.
Love to see it.
Wow.
And UNC lost a tough battle with COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll say, I don't blame the kid. You beat your rival. Go out and celebrate. Maybe don't tell people, but go out and celebrate.
Yeah. Come on, man. Be better. What about Alex Golish getting us fired up this
I
morning?
have not watched the video. I need to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, man.
I've seen a lot of people. I've seen you tweet it. That is a great video, so I'll need to go watch it.
Man, he's getting the hairs on the back of my neck standing up on Valentine's Day. I'm like, ooh.
I need to shave them things.
Probably do, actually.
Oh, speaking of that haircut.
Yeah.
I'll go watch it when we get off here. My first one, it goes out to the random lady that got interviewed about being mad about Tom Brady throwing a trophy. Shut the hell up. No one cares about you. I mean,
Oh, God.
like, obviously it's meaningful to him. But, like, the dude, first off, it's his trophy. He can do whatever the hell he wants with it. He won it.
Yeah.
And if your grandfather, dad, whoever makes it, I don't even know if, quit making it if he doesn't want people to do with it what they want to do with it.
Yeah, you got paid to make it. Like, it's...
If they want to do something like weird, like pee on it, it's their trophy. Let them pee on it.
Yeah. I mean, look what they do to the Stanley Cup every year.
Yeah, for real. That one's way more sacred than the Lombardi trophy. Because
Yeah.
it's the same trophy.
What about the one, I don't remember who it was, but they broke the trophy, like the bowl game that they broke the trophy in.
The Mayo Bowl. The Duke Mayo Bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I mean,
one,
what about
that one's probably more sacred than the Lombardi trophy, too. I think Duke Mayo would agree with us.
yeah, they caught it. Why are they so mad about it? It's not like it sunk to the bottom of the ocean,
Exactly.
wherever they were at.
Didn't Gronk also dent one?
Oh, I'm sure. He probably tried to shotgun it.
I think he tried to use it as a baseball bat. I think is exactly what he tried to do.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's a parade. You got to celebrate.
Yeah, yeah.
The rings are the main thing. It's not that trophy.
Yeah, the Lombardi trophy is special for probably 2 days. The Super Bowl game when you hold it up and the parade.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have thrown it if they weren't on separate boats. So really we should blame the logistical people out, okay?
Yeah, get a bigger boat. But like it got national attention. That trophy got national attention. So your grandpa or whoever made it got national attention for making that trophy.
Yeah, suck it up.
And if no one throws it, no one is talking about it. So I'm just saying,
suck it, lady.
Yeah, I just don't understand why everybody has to be a victim of everything.
Oh God, I know.
So,
She was like, I think they owe me an apology. They don't owe you shit. Shut up.
Yeah, we should send her like a rerun of the Tennessee Ohio game.
We should
make her watch that.
This is our
apology.
should send her an apology.
We should, yeah.
We should send her.
We are sorry for Tom Brady.
We are sorry that Tom Brady cares so little about that trophy that he's won it 7 times. So suck it.
Yeah.
She's probably a Packers
He's got
fan.
more. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
No one's gonna care if one is missing.
Yep, I agree. Do you have do you have any fails? Any more?
No, I think that's all I got. Maybe.
Thought I had one more. I don't know where it went. No more. No bueno. I don't.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. That's a stupidity. Dang it.
I got a stupidity I gotta say for Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
I got a question. I don't follow Clay Travis. I don't think you do either. But I've noticed like people liking and retweeting it. He's been tweeting about like all these older movies. Like he tweeted today. He said, watch the Matrix with my 7th grader tonight. Still holds up over 20 years later. So good. He loved it. He's tweeted that every single time he's watched a movie. He's like, watch Star Wars. Still holds up. Great movie. Like, has he ever watched a movie and been like, not as good as I remember? I don't know. Just seems random to like.
I feel like you're watching movies that like
that you know are good.
Yeah,
exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
No one's shocked that they're still good. Like, I don't think anyone would be like, huh, you're no kidding. You still think The Matrix
Star
is
Wars
20
is
years
good?
old? Yeah. Really? Speaking of that, I watched Ocean's 11 for the first time. Good movie.
So I've never seen that, and I kind of don't know what you're talking about.
It's
I'm a big movie guy, so I am.
Wait, you've actually never seen Ocean's 11?
No, I haven't.
Oh, so it's like a classic, like, I think it was like one of the early, like, classic crime, like, heist movies. I think it was one of, like, the earlier ones. Or, like, the new style of heist. It's good. I watched some of Ocean's 12 today. It goes off Netflix at, like, the end of February, so you need to watch it. It's George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's a good lineup.
Yeah, I've always known of it. I've just never seen it.
Mm.
Yeah, till I saw it on Netflix. And I like giving Brody a hard time about it yesterday. That was fun. So.
Always great to give Brody a hard time.
Oh yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to mention for today?
I think that's it.
Guys,
happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry I didn't have any candles lit. I tried to make it romantic, but
yeah, I was going to, but it's a fire hazard, so
wife wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, I have a scented candle that plugs into the wall. If that helps.
That does count. You should have told us. Wow. Okay.
I do have that going on. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Guys, we always appreciate the listen.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day to you.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
It's weird not seeing you. I feel like I see you on every Valentine's Day. That's not true.
We probably do, but I do see you right now. But in person, I don't feel you. I just see you.
You want to feel me?
Wouldn't be opposed to it.
Guys, that's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.